Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet. Today we are checking out the rest of Twice's With Youth, and I'm excited for this. I've already checked out the first two songs, I Got You and One Spark, so we have 4 songs left. I'm very excited to finally take the time to listen to this whole album so that I can listen to it on repeat. Honestly, that's what's going to happen once this album is there. That's what happened with Ready to Be. I don't want to think about how many times I've listened to that, but it's a lot. Enough to be concerning. So I'm super excited to get into this album, and we're starting with Rush. I'm not really sure what to take from that, but let's just hop into the first song. All right, let's see what Rush has for us. I don't know what to expect from this because the first 2 songs are pretty cute and upbeat. Made me question my existence because the vocals were vocaling, but for the most part, it wasn't fully coming for me. So I don't know. I don't know if that's like setting up the vibe or not. I like how colorful all the backgrounds are there for them. Anyway. Ooh. I don't know who's doing that vocal, but I like the synths. Oh, I wasn't ready for that. Okay, I love the synthy vibe. I love this idea of fixating on getting a message from someone. That might be what the rush is getting that message after agonizing about it, where it's like a simple emoji, but like exactly 5 minutes afterwards, like when you're really waiting for someone to reply to something interesting. I wasn't expecting that layered vocal, though. It was gorgeous. Okay, first off, I think it's a personal attack on me to go from Dahyun and Junghyun. Second, I was like, oh, this will probably be sweet. Why are we talking about misbehaving? What's happening? Hang on. Is it gonna be like Moonlight Sunrise again, where I was like, this is a cute song, I like it. And then now that I listen to it, now that I'm like a once, it hits in a different way. I'm just curious. Ooh, okay, I love the very light vocals that we're getting from them, but there's this drag to them, which I feel like partly is like the breathiness, which I think is interesting given like the message of the song, which is like waiting. So there's like this dragging out of the way that they're even singing, where it feels like there's this elongation to everything that's happening, because even though it's only 5 minutes that they're waiting for the message, to them that feels like a longer space of time. Love the instrumentation that was there, little synths that were plucking in the back. It's, again, it almost feels time ticking, or I don't know, the whole synth vibe to me. I always think of Late at Night. I don't know if that's just like the vibes of the music, or that's just usually the music that I'm drawn to when I happen to be awake at night. It tends to be things that are like very synthy and lo-fi. So it has that feeling to me, as well as this being awake in this quiet moment when not a lot of other people are, and in your head, and hoping to hear from this person and analyzing everything. And it's almost like they're coming up with plans to take control of the situation and not just be waiting around anymore. But at the same time, it's easy to make plans. It's a lot harder to execute those. But loving the kind of very mellow vibe of it so far, which is really interesting with a song called Rush, and them even saying feel your rush, wanting to be with this person and the giddy feeling that you can get around being them, but then having a very mellow song that is describing that, because you're not actually in that situation. You're waiting and reminiscing about it instead of actually experiencing it. The percussion too, like, almost feels like a heartbeat. Ooh, lots of English in it too. Love the way that they're passing off a lot of the lines like partway through. Like I said before, we had Dahyun and Junghyun that were passing back and forth. Jio's been like coming in and out of the song, which is really interesting, adding in little moments there and just passing off kind of mid-line to other people, I think is really interesting. I think that one, it makes them feel very much like a collective, a whole group of them together. Even having the layered vocals that we had earlier on in the first verse, lots of feelings of having this collective feeling between them, because the song feels isolated in terms of what they're talking about, but then having them feel very united in the way that it's arranged is interesting to have those two things going against each other. The feeling of isolation is in and of itself a shared experience. Does that make sense? It's not a unique experience that they're having. It's something that lots of people understand and know about, but at the same time, it's still feeling isolated. Even though you can logically know that other people have felt the same way, it doesn't take away the loneliness or the wishing that you were with that specific person. That part. Ooh, there's so many interesting synths in it, like the plucking there. Then there's like this, I don't even know what that sample is that is at the end of I'm Running Out of Love, but just like lots of really interesting elements. And I think also if you're stuck in your head, I'm thinking of like sad boy hours. It's like when you're awake really late at night and you're lost in your own head and you tend to be getting into your feelings and analyzing things and maybe not in the most productive way, but you're just like very introspective, and having all these kind of elements where it almost feels like there's lots of little things that are blipping in and out of the production. It almost feels like when you're trying to sort through your feelings and your thoughts, and all these little things are coming out, but they're not all connecting together into something that's useful and productive, because it's not really like the mindset that you have in that moment. It's just like generally reflecting on things. And I think too, with the story of them saying like, I want to be with this person, I want to have that rushing feeling, and I'm not in that place. That's the whole point of, I think, the song having this very mellow feeling, their vocals having this very mellow feeling, is that they want to be in this place of energy and excitement and giddiness, and instead they're not there, and they're feeling like the loss of the potential that they could have that, and they could be in that moment, and they're not. So it's like the scattering of feelings and thoughts associated with that, because you're contrasting the imagining of getting that feeling of having that giddiness with the reality of feeling isolated and being on your own and just stuck in your own thoughts. Maybe? I don't know if I'm being coherent, I'm gonna be honest, but I hope that I'm articulating it okay. I love that.
I need to feel your rush, drive me crazy and I know I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. I need to feel your rush, when you're not next to me, I'm running out of love. I'm running out of love. Hours and hours.
Oof, okay, no, we had a little Mina moment in the back there. Dang, girl. Okay, I love the passing off. I don't know what it is about them like passing off midline. I love the repetition in this song too. Here we have I just can't get enough repeating that line, but different singers. We had the misbehave have having that repetition there as well. Hours and hours. There's lots of moments of repetition, which I think is really interesting too, because when you are in that place where you're just in your own head, reminiscing, reflecting, you tend to spin your wheels, right? You're not doing anything productive. Like I was saying before, you're not bringing all of these thoughts and feelings together into something productive or some kind of revelation about that feeling or emotion or the relationship that you're having with someone, but instead you're just like playing through things over and over again. You're thinking of all the possibilities of all the different situations. You may even be like replaying memories over and over because you can't actually be with that person or be in that situation again. So you're just going back to the memory of it. So I love this use of repetition throughout it too, because it's like spinning your wheels and being stuck in place because there's nothing that you can actually do in this moment. It very much feels like they want to be with this person, but for whatever reason they can't do it, whether that's because of where they are or the time of day, or because they have other stuff getting in the way, or the other person has stuff getting in the way. There's something that is saying we can't be together in this moment. It could even be like they just saw them, and because they just can't get enough, because they want to be around this person, because they love the feeling they have around that person, that even though they just saw them, it's still not enough and they want to be with them again. But you can't just, when you've just seen someone, it's a little bit weird to immediately be like, hey, can we meet up right now and do something, right? For whatever reason, they're separated from this person, so they're just spinning their wheels waiting for when they get to see them again. So it's really interesting to have that repetition in it too. But we have to hear Mina, because her beautiful light voice doing her ad lib there, gorgeous. Oof, beautiful little vocal run there at the end. Really cute song overall, and like very mellow compared to some of the powerhouse moments that we've had in some of the other songs, which I think is a good, like a nice little variety here, a little moment of controlling the emotion within the album. One thing that I was thinking is that I really like hearing some of the more powerful voices in the group being able to show that more subdued, breathy, more calming kind of voice. And I also love that some of the more mellow voices in this really feel elevated to the forefront. Like they really get to show off how their sound really fits well with this particular sound. So I like just getting to see a different dynamic and get to hear them in a very, very mellowed out feeling. I don't think I've ever heard a song yet. There may be one out there and I just haven't gotten to it in my journey because there's so much music from that I have to catch up on. But I haven't heard one that's quite this mellowed out yet. But I like it. It was cute. Not my favorite so far, but to be fair, I Got You was like an out-of-body experience. But I'm excited to see what else they got on this album. They've already impressed me thoroughly with a lot of things on it, and I'm only 3 songs in. So let's check out the next song. All right. New. I don't really know what that'll mean, honestly. I do really like that the previous one with Rush was like a very mellow song with a title like Rush. So I guess we'll see what new means. Maybe they're playing off my expectation. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Ooh, that's an interesting synth. Ooh, okay. Beautiful flip up. Okay. I was not expecting us to like immediately go to something this upbeat, but the drums, they're distracting me a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. Contrast their vocals in this to the previous one. Tons more closure, lots more fun flip ups, more like twang. So like they're pushing the sound forward, more like nasal resonance with it. Wonderful. I love getting to see such a wonderful contrast in what they can do with their voices. Love the passing off again. And we have Chang doing this like almost like yell sound to her voice, like this kind of like fun, it's like fun way of kind of this call and response between the lyrics, which is really nice. Love how upbeat it is already. I'm excited now. Ooh, okay, I know we're getting into the chorus. We got like a whole build up with these drums. I love drums so much. This is very exciting to me. But I love this idea of, I guess, like the excitement of them talking about new beginnings, rebirths, them saying growing up, which I really like that line from Tahyang where it was like, I've done some growing up. I really like that being in it because I think that I can really see that in their music. And I get that I have not seen the full transition for their music. I get that I did a bunch of their stuff at the beginning of their career, and I've done stuff that's the more recent stuff, and I haven't gotten the connection between them yet of like them fully doing that. I said it with the previous, like the 2 singles that they put out. It feels very much like they are making music for themselves. And I love that. It feels like they're making music just for them and their fans, and it doesn't matter what other people think. I mean, with the kind of just success that they've had, does it actually matter what other people think? Because at the end of the day, they're one of the most successful groups of their time. They don't need to prove themselves. They've already done that. So I just think it's really nice to see them being very comfortable in themselves. They feel very comfortable in themselves. And I think that's something that just happens with musicians as they get to a certain point where they've been doing it long enough and they've grown up enough. There's not like the same like insecurity or this feeling of needing to build a persona of a performer or an entertainer. And it very much feels like they've just settled into themselves, and it just feels very authentic and fun and doesn't have this added layer of, I think, need to prove themselves. And again, that could just be because I've seen mostly their stuff from the beginning of their career where they did have something to prove and they were trying to get to this point where they are the success that they are right now. And they were very young and trying to like have people listen to them despite the fact that they were very young. So I can understand how there would be like a different like energy to that as opposed to what they are now, right? I love getting to see them talking about starting anew and not being scared. And there's lots of talk about them just being the ones to make the first move and make bold moves and not be shy or embarrassed or feel like they need to present like a certain kind of person, right? Like it very much feels very unself-conscious and authentic and a super fun song so far. I'm loving their vocals, the way that they're playing with them and like trading off lines. The drums are distracting though because I love drums so much. Ooh. I love that held note. Ooh, okay. Love that. So much fun. I love the instrumentation coming in. This probably live is so much fun. If y'all don't go wild in the crowd when this song comes on, obviously we want different things from a live performance because the way that instrumentation comes in, love the way that they held that note, like the do, those like wide round vowels, elongating those, and then having the kind of multiple layered vocals, call and response again is really great. Again, live, the call and response would be so much fun with this between the crowd and them performing. I also love the way that it just has this euphoric feeling, which very much fits with what they're talking about. Them saying in a world that seems to have stopped, you're like, because of you, today's changed or today is changing or something. So it's the reason that they're able to be new or confident or brave or feel okay with new starts or growing up is because of this other person. Now, whether that is them talking about each other, which I can very much see given what they've talked about in other songs on this album so far, it could also be with their fans because I very much felt like this album is even more of a closed bubble than I heard in Ready to Be. Like this, I talked about in Ready to Be where I was like, oh, this very much feels like they're just in their bubble with their fans and it doesn't really matter what's outside of it. This feels like even more intimate, like even more close up, and it feels a little bit more like they're talking to each other than even to like fans. And I can definitely see that between them, of them being like, we can feel the way that we do and start new things or not be afraid of like new beginnings or new starts because they have each other and they know that despite what they might have to face or deal with, they can do new things and try new things and be new people, and they're always going to have each other's back. right? And I think that's just really sweet. I hope that's the meaning behind it because it's really sweet, especially since we have the song at the end that's You Get Me. So we got I Got You and then You Get Me, like bookending the album. So it does very much feel like this is an album about not only like the members of Twice kind of talking amongst themselves, but also talking to their fans, like this very like close knit circle between them, but just like a really fun chorus. Like I love Tsui's voice here too. Like her vocals on this album in general. And again, that might just be because I've seen mostly like their beginning stuff, but more Tsui vocals, please. Thank you. I love the way that she like, sorry, not to interrupt again, but the way that Junghyun like flips up in the because, gorgeous. Because of, so good. I believe that. Taeyang on the song is so adorable. I love the tone of her voice. I love how she's doing all these like almost like cry yelling like sound to it, but she just sounds like she's having so much fun and I love it. Don't laugh at me. I'm sorry, was that Nayeon that was doing that little vocal run right there? Ooh, a dream completed by you is a good line. Sorry, a dream completed by you. I very much feel like this is them talking to each other. And I guess also once, because it takes fans to make a group successful as well. But that's so cute to be like a dream completed because of you. So we're talking about like, an ending. Completion is the end of something. In this song that's talking about like, new beginnings. It's almost like they feel like they can do other stuff. Again, because I was saying before, they don't have the same desperate energy of needing to prove something and to really need to chase after their dream or go after something that they're very passionate about. They feel so settled and grounded in themselves. And it could very much be that this is them being like, we can cap off something, because I know that they renewed their contract too, right? So that's a huge thing with groups, is that if you get to the end of your 7 years and then you renew again, it's a lot of groups do not get to have enough success that they can renew their contract. So it does very much feel like they're talking about book ending something and being like, we've already proven that we're successful. We've already proven that we're an idol group to be reckoned with and that we're one of the best out there. So we get to try new things now. We get to do new stuff because we don't have to worry about numbers and sales and getting people to listen to us or appreciate us, because they already know that if they release something, they have fans that are going to be there to support them, right? And they already know that if they talk about things that are very authentic to who they are, that's just going to make their fans appreciate them more and love them more. And if people listen to it who aren't their fans and they don't like it, it's not for them. That's fine. They don't need them because they already have that core group of people that they know are going to be there no matter what. And they have each other, right? So it's so cute. Also, Bop. This is definitely going to be one of those Twice songs that I listen to on a regular basis. And I'm just like dancing around in my house by myself, because sometimes when you have social anxiety, you got to be a party of one. But I'm definitely adding the Zent because I'm going to be bopping when I'm like doing chores or something. Definitely. Beautiful vocal there.
Look into my eyes, baby. Feeling so good. 몰라도 너와 나 찾아가. And we are so people know.
Ooh. Okay, no, we're going back for Gia, but I love that we ain't stopping for no one, and holding that, it's like this like cry of like, I don't know, success or victory, which I know how much Gia likes to be a winner, but that's what it feels like. Again, live, just like her microphone spotlight belting out her entire soul to that. I want to see it so bad. The problem is that I live on the east part of North America and I don't live in the United States. So it's very difficult to actually go to a K-pop concert. I'll figure it out someday though.
몰라도 너와 나 찾아가. And we are so people know. Get that new, fresh,
Ad-libs. I'm sorry, the ad-libs, ma'am. Those vocal runs though. Ooh, love that pause. There's a lot of vocals happening. Don't laugh at me. That's the second time in this song that you did that. Do not. Also, there were so many vocals happening there. Different parts of the mix. There was like the main one, and then there was like an ad-lib happening here. There was like two happening on this side, and then whoever did a little vocal run right there at the end. Ugh. My brain's a little bit overwhelmed by that because I feel like it was probably multiple of them like all doing their vocals, which again, there's this wonderful feeling of unity with them in the way that they're passing off parts mid-line, call and response, and then they're having like multiple ad-libs layered over top of each other. It very much feels like this collective force, and I love that. And it's something that I've talked about even in their earlier songs where I'm like, oh, I love the way that they're passing off some of these lines because it feels more like they're a collective voice. But I feel like with this album, they've perfected it, and I don't know how or why. I feel like they've really nailed being able to feel like a group in the way that they are singing while still having moments for people to let their vocals shine. I've had moments for like all of them where I'm like, oh, I love that Tsui doing the chorus sounded wonderful. Momo got to do it the second time, sounded great. Sana got to do it. Like all of them, they sounded so good doing the beginning of the chorus. And then we've got multiple ad-libs. Dahyun and Taeyang are just having so much fun with theirs. We don't even have to talk about the other vocalists here, do we? Powerhouses, wonderful flip-ups. Like Mina had a gorgeous one. Junghyun also had a gorgeous flip-up. Jio, queen behavior with her ad-libs. Nahyun also sounding absolutely gorgeous. I love the way that she did those elongated notes in the do part. Ugh, so good. I just feel like everyone has had a moment to be in the spotlight and really show off what they can do in this album while still feeling like they're a whole collective group. And I just love that so much. Such a fun song. Feels very much like a victory. And I love that for them. And I love how they put in all of this imagery of new beginnings and rebirths and changes and growing up, like all of these hallmarks of new beginnings. And then also contrast that with these little moments of completion and finishing and having ends to certain things. Like certain things need to end for new things to happen, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a sad thing. It can be victorious. It can feel like you're rising above it. You're using that completion as a stepping stone to get to the new next better thing. It's such a bop too. This whole album is going to be on repeat. I know it. I knew that already going in, but now I'm past the halfway point in the songs and I'm like, definitely 100%. I'm going to be bopping to this album just like around my kitchen, depending on how sad the last song is, because I never know at the end of albums. We could go super sad and sentimental. Other times it's just a bop. But I don't know. Let's get to the next song though. Bloom also feels like a new beginning. It makes me think spring, beginnings. Blooming is like, I don't know, it seems like coming into one's own, which is very much what this album feels like. I've said it over and over again, but it very much feels, gosh, these photos that they're using though. Hang on, not to be distracted by Mina, but also Gio. Anyway, but this whole album very much feels like them coming into their own and really settling into themselves. I feel like Ready to Be was like kind of the start of it, them kind of like testing the waters and realizing that they're like, it was okay. And like that that it wasn't going to cause any like bad ripple effects or anything. And then this album feels very much like them just being very settled into who they are, both as a group, but also as individuals. And Bloom seems to very much encapsulate that to me. It feels like they are talking maybe about, I don't know, like when a flower blooms, it very much opens up and it shows its full beauty and potential. I don't know if that'll be like sonically, but I feel like that might be some of the context of it. Ooh.
움츠렸던 꽃들은 곧 피었나 스쳐짐과 흩어짐을 벗어나 아름답고 진하게 난 번져가 I have you hip 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 I have you hypnotized 빛을
Okay, no, this is already fun. Okay. Love Nayeon's vocals coming in there. Love that we already have the flower imagery and opening up. Great. Love the hip, hip, hypnotized, but separated to two halves of the line. Love that. Love the layered choir vocal at the beginning too. I don't even know what to feel yet.
아름답고 진하게 난 번져가 I have you hip 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 I have you hypnotized 빛을 내려 내 주위를 다 밝혀줘 비를 내려 피어나게 적셔줘
Love the little guitar there.
I got it just how you want it 영원히 지지 않게 끝없이 날 다 밀어내 이 땅에 숨 쉴 수 있게 이 땅에 숨 쉴 수 있게 Can I
I'm sorry, Sana. What was that? What was that? I was just like here enjoying the vocals. Sui's part was really cute. Love to like transforming into someone unshakable. Very much feels like what I've been getting from this album so far. We're just loving the vocals. And then Sana was like, would you like some lower range? And I was like, I'm sorry. I really do need to figure out what to do with Sana. We've been talking about this in my comments and I'm like, I don't know what to do with her other than to say she is the ethereal line. I'm not entirely convinced she's actually a person, a human being, a physical human that just is existing in the world, right? I don't think I fully comprehend that as much as I try to see idols as humans. And most of the time I succeed, but there's something about Sana that just makes me question if she really is but a mere mortal like the rest of us. I need her to not do that though. I need her not to sound like that.
just how you want it 영원히 지지 않게 끝없이 날 다 밀어내 이 땅에 숨 쉴 수 있게 이 땅에 숨 쉴 수 있게
No, unacceptable. I'm sorry, and then you're gonna have like, Janghyun come in there with just like, some little vocal runs. I love the message of this though, of them talking about transforming it into like someone who's unshakable, and then so I can breathe, saying I'm grounded now, I'm unshakable, which means that I can finally take a breath, catch my breath. And you say like when you're like grounding yourself is like taking deep breaths and not getting caught up in the constant rush, ironically, given the name of one of their songs, the rush and feelings. And I mean, maybe that's part of it too, is that we had this whole song that was about wanting to be lost in someone, or the feeling you get around someone, or wanting that giddy feeling, and very much not being in the present moment because you're thinking about the possibility of being with that person. And then the next song is literally about being, I don't know, like having yourself and having the people close to you and not needing someone else to make the first move. Very much like the contrast of that. And then getting to this one where it's very much like empowering yourself, of being like, I'm at this place where I get to truly be who I am and bloom and flower and open up and breathe. What a wonderful feeling that is, to be this unshakable thing. And I think too, the flower is both this thing of beauty and delicateness. I feel like a lot of the time the images of flowers are seen as this very delicate, feminine, beautiful thing, but also there's a certain resilience to flowers in the wild, right? Like I think a lot of the time we think of a bouquet of flowers or more domesticated forms of gardening and stuff, but the majority of flowers are like very robust. A wildflower is far more robust and able to hold its own than we might think, and is able to deal with a lot of the things that are thrown at them with weather and wind and storms, and very much able to still continue to come back and bloom again and not be taken out just because its petals get spread around. It's still able to continue to exist and thrive and change, but still hold on to the essence of what it is. If I can get super metaphorical. But so far, loving the kind of like contrast that they have with these like lighter vocals, these like vocal runs, a little bit in their lower range for a lot of them too. I'm excited for the chorus though. it's a little funky. Ooh, that falsetto there. Ooh, okay, I love how funky that is. I also love how staccato it is. It's a very choppy delivery to it. And I like that because I think one, it goes against a lot of the vocals that they had before. It was like very smooth, breathy sounding vocals up to that point. And again, in their lower range, and then you have this falsetto happening in the chorus. But it also makes me think of two things. One, they're talking about taking a breath. So literally there's this breath between each word, punctuating it. But then it also has this strength to it because each word is very carefully punctuated, right? It's almost like there's a period after each of those words. And they're like, I really mean what I say. You're going to listen. There's going to be a very firm emphasis on each of these words. It's going to be very minimal, but each word is intentional and there's a certain force and power and intentionality to it that I really like with this very funky production behind it. And then you get into those beautiful vocal runs with the bloom being repeated and just brings it all together. I also love the twice the magic. It's cute. I don't even know how many vocal layers there are. Oh, that fall off of Bloom there. Okay, I love this perfume imagery that they're putting throughout it because it's, even though they're like in one place, their impact has a much wider range, right? Also, even having even the petals that fall in the wind. I was talking about that. Even if the petals get blown off of a flower, it's still a flower. The plant is still there. It's still going to bloom again. And just because one flower doesn't last doesn't mean that now the plant is actually dead. I feel like we think about that a lot of once the petals fall off of a flower that there's a certain like glow that leaves the plant, but in reality there's like a whole plant there besides just the flower that is like colorful and blooming and has that like fragrance to it. Like the plant is still thriving despite the fact that it doesn't have the look or the image that you wanted it to. It's still there and it's still like growing roots and is going to come back even stronger. So love that. I love this like perfume being used throughout it, and also the lower range. Junghan, lower range here. I love a lower range. I love that they're all giving me a little bit of it. It's beautiful. Oof, ad-lib there. I'm sorry. I was thinking about the ad-lib. I think it was Gio, and then Diane did the line that sounded. I'm just gonna take a drink. It's nothing related to what's happening in the video. It's absolutely fine. I'm not being attacked. It's fine. All right. Unacceptable. Okay. Ooh. Oof, okay, I love the fall off in the last bloom there. There's something about it, like softening out as we go into like the other vocals. That's great. I love that they had more ad libs coming in. Like we had Nahyun coming in to say a couple of lines there, having these kind of like layered vocals in it. Again, just a gorgeous job throughout this whole album of like collective while also letting people shine through. And I think a lot of it is the way that they're mixing in different ad libs, different parts. There's lots of layered vocal tracks in general in this, like tons of layers up on top of each other that has this like harmony to it, which is just like really interesting. Even though it softens out the sound because you have so many layers that it softens out any edges to it, there is this certain power to it, this whole choir of them singing together that has a certain strength to it because it's collective voices all coming together to sing the same thing, which it's reminiscent, I think, also of them with their fans, but also them, even though people might look at them and Flower assume that they are delicate, assume that they are there to just be pretty or flowery or whatever, just to be there as this delicate flower, but they're not. They're more resilient than they look, and you may just be seeing the flower, but underneath of that is a whole plant with very robust roots and they won't be shaken, right? So I love this idea of having this kind of a softened sound because you have all those layers, but there's this collective force to it that's really interesting. Ooh, beautiful. Ooh, beautiful. No, we are not just passing by that. Hang on. The way that I got shivers through my whole body right there. That's a high note. That's like, it's getting close to whistle range. Dang, girl. I was gonna say, I'm like, I love even in this line, we have a bunch of people singing, voices being passed, like different parts being passed around to different voices. And then Nahyam was just like, hang on a second. Whew, I wasn't ready for that. No, unacceptable. I was just like, oh, I love all the ad libs. No, you can't have Momo coming in like that in our lower range. I think my soul just left my body. I can't have a single word. No, unacceptable behavior all around. What even happened in that song? The way that they had so many wonderful lower ranges, and I love me a lower range, so I loved getting to hear all that. Then we have all this falsetto in the actual chorus. I love the way that they were handing it off. Then they started to just have all these ad libs and passing out the lines, and I was like, okay, apparently we're just going S tier right away. And then we had basically a whistle note, and I was like, oh, okay, we're going full superhero mode. And then Momo was like, hang on, I'm gonna bring it way down in my register just to punctuate the end of this song. And it was funky, it was fun, it was confident. It was like just a little bit of a warning, which I like. It's like the subtle way of just slipping it in, right? Because the majority of it is a celebration of them coming into themselves and being these unshakable people and knowing that their reach, they have this far reach, and even if they face hardships, they're still going to persevere and get to the other side of it. But then there's that just you wait until you see me bloom, right? The way that the chorus is so staccato and so punctuated, it very much has that feeling of just you wait, right? That's what it feels like, of this like pointing this punctuation of this threat of you can say whatever you want about me now. I haven't even come into my full force yet. And I feel like they hinted at some of it in this. I don't know what that means for our last track. I don't know what that means for the next release. But they're showing me some new things. And I'm like, hang on. I was already like, they're really good. They're really talented. And then we got to I Got You. And I was like, I don't know what they were on recording that one. But the vocals are vocaling. They're so good in that song. And now I'm like, oh, hang on. We're pulling out new tricks. What does that mean? What are we doing now? You haven't bloomed yet? That hasn't happened? Because that makes me both both nervous and very excited what's gonna happen. We have one song left though. And again, I don't know if we're gonna end out mellow or with a bop. This has been a pretty good boppy album. I don't know, I feel like it might be sentimental because it feels like we're closing the loop from I Got You to You Get Me. Should I have tissues? I don't know. All right, final track. It's been a whirlwind already. Such a fun album. It feels so much like they're just having fun and being themselves, and it's not about proving anything, and yet in the process of that, they are showing what incredible singers and performers they are. Like, I can't wait to see some lives or whatever. Let me know what your favorite live performances are from any of the songs on the album. I know that there's one live performance video of I think I Got You, but let me know because I would love to see some live performances of these songs because they are probably having so much fun performing them and I would love to see them. But I don't know how we're ending this off. Are y'all gonna get me my feels? Because I don't know if I'm ready for you to say something sweet to me. Oh dear.
여긴 도대체 어디쯤일까 낯선 곳에서 그만 벗어나 Wish I find a place 자유로운 그 공간 속에 너와 함께 머물고 싶어 yeah 지금 당장 내게로 달려와 꽉 안아줘 절대 놓지 말아줘
Oh, okay. I love, again, lower range. I love that. And I think that it's such a cool thing for them to be doing because I think in their earlier stuff, they tended to be in this very kind of like middle part of the range, very poppy sounding, lots of forward placement. And then now that they're doing like a more mature sound, they're digging into those lower ranges. They're getting a bit of a darker placement with like back placement of the sounds. Love it. Love that they're like testing out the bottom cap of their range. Again, in the last song, we could also see that they're also figuring out where the cap might be on their upper range, which is great. I love them just like, expanding out that whole range that they're able to have. Like all of them have shown a wonderful lower range and also have shown some wonderful falsetto as well. I love the kind of upbeat coming in. There's a synth kind of swirling through it. Feels a bit spacey. Even them saying that free space, I'm like, this feels spacey to me. Oh, I had another thought. The vocal fret they're putting in these little cries in their onsets are also really nice. Like it's just like adding a little bit of texture, especially since they're in their lower range. It's just going to give them like a little bit more closure on their vocal cords. It's just going to help them like sustain that lower range without like it being like all breathy and not having like, any projection to it, which is really nice.
자유로운 그 공간 속에 너와 함께 머물고 싶어 yeah 지금 당장 내게로 달려와 꽉 안아줘 절대 놓지 말아줘 Cause you got me oh when I'm with you I'm my best me lately I've been feeling like everything's enough 너와 함께라면 You got me I could be the one who don't let me lately I've been feeling like everything's enough 네 곁에
Oh, I love that. I love how it has this kind of like smooth feeling, like it all smooths out in the chorus in contrast to the verses. And I also love that I was saying like in Rush, it very much feels like they're like, oh, I want to be with this person and I can't be with them. There's like this longing and this isolation. And then having this song of the end that feels very like this collective and like being with the people that actually are important to you and support you and getting to be with them. It makes me feel like Rush is almost like they're fans, and it's when they're separated from them, they're able to see messages and see what fans are talking about or sharing, but it's not the same as actually getting to be with them in concerts and fan meets and that sort of thing. Even the live streams, there's a certain separation between them. It's different to actually be like with the energy of being with that group of people that are there to celebrate this thing that you've put so much effort into creating. And given what's happened in the last few years of not being able to do performances, not being able to tour, not being able to do fan meets and all of that, it very much feels like from that place of, again, like a new beginning, maybe in the aftermath of lockdowns and the isolation that came with everyone during that time, of realizing that this is an opportunity to not only reconnect, but reconnect with intentionality, a reset in a way of a new beginning, in that they had a lot of time probably to think about what they wanted to do, or like needing to pivot just to deal with the global circumstances, that it made them reflect more on what they were doing or who they were or the kinds of things that they wanted to create, and also what was really important to them, like who were the people that they actually wanted to be with, whether that was fans or being with each other or the different people that they work with to create their music and different pieces of media that they're a part of. And this feels more like from that place of isolation to this place of like being with people, but also I feel like in a way like knowing that you have those people, like those people have your back regardless of whether or not you are physically with them. Does that make sense? Because it's like, where am I was like one of the lines. Like it's like being in this space that you don't really fully understand, or you don't really know where you are or what to expect, but there's a certain groundedness in knowing that you have people who are going to be there to support you and protect you regardless. Maybe? Why do they keep giggling at me? Love the ad-libs. Okay, I love the your gaze that shines on me we had in Bloom, where they were talking about going through the tunnel. There was something about the glow of getting to the other side of the tunnel, so carrying that forward of the glow and shine here as well. Also love this city is ours, like our own. Again, feeling like we're in this bubble between them both as a group member, but also them with their fans. There was another line. Oh, the I never have to fake it. That was literally what I was talking about. This whole album, it feels very much like they are far more authentically themselves because they don't need to prove anything, right? Those of us who are really fans of them are here because we love them for who they are and what they want to create, and we're here to support them. And the more authentic they are, the more we love them, right? The more that we are proud of them, the more that we want to celebrate in the things that they create, because we can see that authenticity coming through in the things that they are making. So it's like encouraging them to be more and more of themselves, because we're like, yeah, we want that, right? We want to see you be yourself and not get lost in this feeling of needing to do something that is trendy or is going to reach like a wider audience, or like dolling your glow in order to fit in, right? I love the layering of them all like shouting together. I love having these moments of like, when I know that in lives, like all once is going to be able to like shout along, but I also like getting to hear them like all kind of their voices coming together. It's like a collective message from them. Sana's vocals there. Sui too. Fun. Oh, I love that. Okay, one, Sana and Sui's tone here, gorgeous. Love it. Love those. That's so cute, the little flip up. And then the cadence that Dahyun's part had of "You get me, I got you," like the calling back to the song there, and just the rapid, like meandering cadence that she has is just, oh, it's so good.
I'm the best me. Lately I've been feeling like everything's enough.
Oh, no, I gotta go back. You can't pull it all the production and then just expect me to like pass on by.
I'm the best me. Lately I've been feeling like everything's enough.
Love that harmony. love the way that Momo's elongated life. Like, ugh, the tone of her voice.
You got me, I got you, we got it for life. You got me, I got you, we got it for life.
Oh, I was hoping that we would end on Dio. It just feels right to have her be like the ending of it. Oh, I love that. That was so fun. Fun, sweet. Love getting to hear so many beautiful tones from them. They really have just upped the vocals in this album. I don't know what they were on. I don't know what happened when this album was being created and recorded, but it makes me very excited to see what other stuff that they're going to come up with, because they all sound so good. I can just hear the amount of work that they've put in, and that obviously they've always sounded great, but there's just something about the way that they've stepped it up in a way that I wasn't entirely sure that they could. It feels like they've gone superhero mode. There's something, some god mode they've entered that I don't know how to comprehend, because I'm like, you were already fantastic. Their vocals are amazing. They have so much like character in them. I love how their voices all have like their own unique tones, and they all have like different things they can do with their voices. And there's something about this album where they're like, okay, so everyone can do a little bit of everything. Also, we're going to give you some gorgeous new tones that you haven't heard before. We're going to hit some different parts of our range, because just in case you thought you knew what the bookends of our range was, we're going to prove you wrong. And we're just going to do some gorgeous things with our vocals in this and just really cement what fantastic performers we are. And not only does that make me just super excited to listen to this album over and over again, and to also stuff that they're going to be coming out with, but it also just shows that even though they've been doing this for a long time, even though they've renewed their contract and they've really proven that they are one of the most successful groups in K-pop right now, they're still putting in so much work. And I love that. I love getting to literally be able to hear in like this album from the previous one how much work and effort they've put in to working on their voices, finding new things, trying to pull out new tones and notes and tricks and melodies. I can hear the amount of effort that went into this album, and I love it so much, because it shows that this is something that they love and they care about and they want to put the work into. And they've just grown so much that I'm like, I know I haven't been here for the whole journey, but I feel very proud of them to be able to hear this and really hear the progression that they've made. Of course I'm going to be here. Of course I've got you, because look at the kind of things that you make. Where am I gonna go? It's too late for me. I'm in this for life. It's just, I'm gonna be listening to this album so much. I love this so much. I knew I was gonna like it, especially getting to hear I Got You and One Spark. I was like, I don't know what they're on this album, but I'm very excited. And just getting to hear it now, the full thing, and get to hear it as many times as I want now on repeat. I just love how much this album felt like a celebration. It feels so much like this is just them celebrating in them being a group and being with their core fans and not trying to prove anything, and yet in the process really proving how phenomenal they are. But nothing about this album felt like it was for anyone other than them. Once, obviously, because we're always here to support them. But this album just feels so much like they've made an album for themselves. And I love that. I love getting albums where it very much feels like the artist is just making something that is them going through a process of analyzing, and this very much feels like them going through the retrospection and realizing that not only have they changed, but that they want to embrace that change and to do something new and to grow and mature into the musicians that they're going to become, and just letting us be a fly on the wall while they're going through that. It feels like they're inviting us in to those quieter, more introspective moments in a way that I haven't heard from their music so far, and not from a lot of music in general. There's just something very intimate about them letting us share in that moment, and there's a vulnerability to the way that they're talking about it. And yet in the same way, even though there's a vulnerability, there's this confidence and this groundedness and this assuredness that it's going to work, right? It feels like they've gone through the process of figuring themselves out and are just presenting that to us now in this very authentic and grounded way, but not for our approval or for us to give them the okay to do it. They're like, this has already happened, right? They've already shifted and changed and grown, and they're just sharing and celebrating in that with us. And I feel like the reason that they have like that confidence and yet vulnerability is because they know that we've got them. Like they know we're gonna be here. The ones that are really fans and the ones that are gonna support them no matter what, they don't need to be afraid of them judging them or not liking it or being like, oh, I don't want the change, right? I know that whenever people's change happens, people get defensive. They're like, I want it to be back to what it was. The ones of us that truly care about them know that they're going to continue to grow as artists. They're going to continue to try new things and progress in their career. I don't want, as much as I love early Twice, the amount of times I've listened to like Ua is ridiculous. I love debut Twice and their early stuff and the cutesy bubblegum pop, just like fun music. I love it. But I also understand that they're not those people anymore, and they've done so many things and they've progressed so much and they've grown up. They're not who they were when they debuted, and I don't want them to go back to that. As much as I love those songs, I love them because they're like a time capsule of who they are as musicians. If they went back to that, maybe one song that's a nod, like a little bit of a hey, remember moment, that would be okay. But if they legitimately went back to that sound, I would not enjoy it as much because it's not who they are anymore. It wouldn't feel authentic in the way that this does. And I just love that so much. I just have a huge smile on my face because I'm like, I'm just so proud of them for getting to this point. And also I love just getting to be part of it and getting to see how much they've grown. You can really hear it between, I've listened to Ready to Be a lot, okay? I feel like I might be an expert on this, but I can hear the difference between their music, not just like vocally, but also the kinds of music that they're putting together from that album to this one. And I love both albums, but the fact that I can so clearly hear the progression in who they are as musicians is just so exciting to me, because that just means that they're going to continue to do stuff like that, try new things and grow and progress. And it makes me more excited to hear new albums from them because I really don't know what I'm going to get, right? I'm like, you're going to throw something new at me and I'm going to get to discover it and see what they're going to do. It makes me giddy and excited, and I can't wait to listen to this album over and over again because it's definitely going to happen. But I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can click this place to go to my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to me next time I post a Twice reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.